Show.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to News 3 Now, live at 4. It's
Friday. Did you hear Jamie Perez?
Yes.
It's Friday. She's excited.
It has been, think of this week. It was 72 on Monday.
I know.
Then we had a near blizzard, thunderstorms.
I know, and it's still cold and raw today.
We had all 4 seasons
we did.
in 1 week.
That's Wisconsin for you.
There you go. And we have a special look at Mike LeCrone's career.
That's right.
Coming to an end. 50 years.
Yeah, 50 years. The second of his 3 final spring varsity band concerts is tonight. We'll take a look back. Boy, it's hard to include 50 years in one story, but we'll give it a shot.
All right, here's what's making news on this Friday. An East High School girl says she was assaulted at the school. Amanda Quintana reports 2 15-year-old boys have been arrested.
Foxconn is buying a prime piece of property on the Capitol Square. Our Jamie Perez explains what they plan to do with it.
And a scary attack at the Mall of America leaves a teenager hospitalized.
Let's take a look outside today. It was windy when I was just coming in this afternoon.
We were out shooting the Harvey Briggs for next week, and we were in a Jeep with a soft top. We were blowing around like...
Not the weekend for that.
No, it was not. A chilly weekend, in fact. Chris Reese is in the backyard. Holding on, kind of a breezy day today.
Midwest, but we are certainly dealing with the wind out here. Woo! It is definitely blowing around. Temperatures are a little chilly as well. Our highs today made it towards 43 here in Madison, which oddly enough is below where we should be. Typically our highs right around this time of the year are upwards towards 56 for this time. 39 degrees right now, feeling like 32. The sustained winds out of the south and southwest at 11 miles per hour at the airport. But folks, I can tell you, it is likely a lot gustier than that, depending on where you are. Warmer as you work your way towards the south and east. South Bend at 54 right now, 57 in Kalamazoo. But things are a little bit colder towards the north and west in the upper Midwest. That's where those temperatures are still in the 30s, although these temperatures are somewhat warmer than we were at this time yesterday. But our storm system starting to leave the picture. Still some wraparound snow showers across northern parts of the state. For us, we are dealing with the cloud cover and the wind, and expect that cloud cover and wind to stick around as we go through the rest of the afternoon and evening, and along with parts of your weekend as well. Temperatures are pretty much going to stay where they are right now, though that cloud cover is going to work as a blanket that keeps things just a little bit warmer as we go through the next several hours and into the overnight hours. We are watching that traffic begin to build up. Of course, it's Friday. This is the Beltline at Park Street. Things are moving along, but that volume has certainly increased, and our typical trouble spots that we see for the evening commute are starting to see those traffic problems begin to increase. No big issues, but nonetheless, it's just slow. And of course, we're going to track that traffic going throughout the rest of the day. Some slowdowns as you work your way downtown towards the Isthmus as well, guys. In the meantime, just listen to that wind roar.
Yeah, we can hear it.
Oh, yes.
It is loud.
It's kind of surreal to be outside right now. It feels cold, but this wind is something else, I'll tell you that.
It really is. Hang on.
Yep.
Okay, Chris, we'll see you in a few minutes. Come on
My
in.
pleasure.
Thank you, Chris. First at 4, 2 15-year-old boys have been arrested for an alleged sexual assault that happened at Madison East High School.
A 15-year-old female student says she was assaulted by the boys after school on Wednesday. Our Amanda Quintana is live at East High School with the very latest. Amanda?
Yes, well, that second boy was arrested this morning by a school resource officer. The assault allegedly happened on a Wednesday around 4 o'clock after school inside the school in a bathroom. The girl told the school resource officer on Thursday that this had happened, and that first suspect was arrested that night, Thursday night. Both boys are facing charges for second-degree sexual assault of a child. The principal sent out a letter to parents today saying, I want you to know that we are fully supporting the victim and the victim's family through this process, and will be taking the necessary disciplinary actions with the other students involved once this investigation concludes. Now, I did speak to some parents who are here picking up their children today. They say this does worry them. They hope that these boys are disciplined. They hope that this is resolved. But one father of a girl who goes here said, you know, he feels for the parents of this girl that was involved in this, because he knows this is a worry for parents, and it's very, very scary for parents of daughters here at East High School.
Scary and very real. Amanda Quintana reporting live from East High School. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. President Trump says he is weighing a proposal to send migrants detained at the border to sanctuary cities like San Francisco and Seattle. The plan had first been reported by the Washington Post, which said in the last 6 months, the White House twice proposed sending migrants to, quote, places where local authorities have refused to hand over illegal immigrants for deportation. The White House had earlier confirmed that the idea had been floated, then rejected, and was no longer under consideration.
California certainly is always saying, oh, we want more people, and they want more people in their sanctuary cities. Well, we'll give them more people. We can give them a lot. We can give them an unlimited supply.
It's just another notion that is unworthy of the presidency of the United States.
The plan was apparently revived in February, but ultimately rejected by immigration officials. The president did not provide a timetable on if and when he would move the migrants, but in a tweet, he said it would make the Democrats, quote, very happy. Another Democratic presidential hopeful is making his way to Wisconsin tonight. U.S.
Senator Bernie Sanders is holding a rally starting at 5 o'clock at James Madison Park downtown. That's where political reporter Rose Schmidt joins us, where the doors have been open now for about a half an hour. Rose?
Yeah, so Mark and Susan, you can see everyone here in that crowd is bundled up. It's still pretty chilly out here, but I talked to many people who tell me they are ready to feel the burn, and they're ready to listen to Bernie Sanders' message, which he will give to us at about 5:30. And Senator Bernie Sanders marks the third Democratic presidential hopeful to come through Wisconsin this year, following Beto O'Rourke and Amy Klobuchar. You may remember Senator Sanders actually won Wisconsin during the 2016 Democratic primary, beating out Hillary Clinton, who, of course, became the nominee. The latest numbers out this week from the Marquette Law School poll show Senator Sanders has taken the lead of Democratic candidates in the Badger State.
I think that he has a chance to really do a positive campaign, even though there's all this negativity around. I think that he's the one candidate that can really really it's a sincere message.
As President Trump carried Wisconsin in 2016, Democrats don't plan on taking this state for granted in 2020. Sanders is starting his Midwest campaign swing here tonight in Madison. Then this weekend, he will head to Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. But we're waiting for him to speak here tonight. Back to you.
Wish we had better weather for him.
Yeah,
that's
right
a
on the
beautiful
lake.
venue on a nice evening, but
not tonight.
Bundled up. Rose, thank you.
And downtown Madison will soon be home to a Foxconn facility.
The company's director of U.S. Strategic Initiatives announced the news earlier today. Our Jamie Perez is here in the studio with more details.
Well, they said that they are still in the planning stages and the deal is still imminent, but they plan on buying the BMO Harris Bank building on West Main Street on the Capitol Square. This building was called a hallmark of Madison, built in 1923. It sits at about 60,000 square feet and 6 stories high. BMO Harris Bank will have to make some rearrangements to make room for Foxconn. Now, they wouldn't say how much of this building Foxconn will actually buy, but BMO Harris Bank's CEO said the bank will still operate on the first floor and will keep all 100 of their current employees who are working there now. Dr. Alan Young, Foxconn's U.S. Strategic Initiatives Director, said he hopes to engage the faculty and students at UW-Madison in what will be the largest industrial research project in the history of the UW.
This is the commitment we made to the university and the community here last August to have an off-campus location that we can link UW-Madison campus here in Madison to Mount Pleasant, where Wisconsin Valley Science and Technology Park will be located.
Now, they said they cannot say when they will move in and get started working out of that building, but they said more announcements will be made in the coming months. But they did say production in Mount Pleasant will be up and running by the end of 2020, although a lot of people have said they're skeptical of that because many of their buildings have been deemed empty. I'll have Dr. Alan Young's reaction to those concerns coming up tonight at 5.
Jamie, we'll see you then. Thank you.
A terrifying incident at the Mall of America has left a 5-year-old child in the hospital with critical injuries. Authorities say a man either pushed or threw the child from a balcony. Tom Hansen reports.
Emergency crews performed CPR on a 5-year-old child moments after, witnesses say, he was pushed or thrown from the 3rd floor balcony at the Mall of America.
We have a report over on the south side that someone just fell from the 3rd floor to the 1st floor.
We're actively trying to figure out why this occurred, whether it was an interaction up on the floor.
The horrifying scene early Friday morning left shoppers in shock.
This was the last thing I expected to see.
This witness says he heard the child's mother yelling for help.
She was screaming for everyone, please pray, please pray. Please pray for my baby.
Police are now questioning a 24-year-old man who they say took off running immediately after the incident, but was later located inside the mall.
At this time, we do not believe there is a relationship between the suspect and the child or the family of the child.
Authorities are calling the incident isolated and say there is no threat to the public. Tom Hansen, CBS News.
Parts of the Mall of America are closed as police conduct their investigation.
Well, Green Bay Packers legend Forrest Gregg has died. Gregg started at tackle and guard for the mighty Packers teams of the 1960s. Green Bay coach Vince Lombardi called him, quote, the best player I have ever coached. Gregg, who will go down as one of the best offensive linemen in NFL history, began his NFL career in 1956 and played a final season with the Dallas Cowboys in 1971. He later coached Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Green Bay teams, guiding the Bengals to their first Super Bowl during the 1981 season. Forrest Gregg was 85 years old.
That's the highest praise you can get from Coach Lombardi.
Best player he's ever coached.
Wow.
Well, still to come at 4, a gentle reminder, your taxes are due this Monday.
It's that time of the year again, and if you haven't done them yet, you may be in a big shock. Millions of Americans owe taxes for the first time. We'll find out why when Live at 4 continues.
Tax. Well, faster internet and cell service could be a step closer to reality after an announcement today at the White House.
President Trump announced new steps that he says will allow the country to win the race to 5G. The president was joined by the head of the Federal Communications Commission. The agency is auctioning off 5G spectrum airwaves to phone providers in December and creating a nearly $20 billion fund to expand high-speed broadband in rural areas.
From precision agriculture to smart transportation networks to telemedicine and more. We want Americans to be the first to benefit from this new digital revolution.
The White House says 5G will give our phones speeds of up to 100 times faster than current 4G networks. Phone providers like AT&T and Verizon already have new 5G towers set up in larger cities, and the first phones to carry 5G are now hitting the market.
A much better than anticipated earnings report from bank JP Morgan sent stocks soaring on Wall Street. The Dow Industrials added 269 points, ending the week at 26,412. The Nasdaq Composite Index gained 36. The S&P 500 was up 19. Well, you have a few days left to get your taxes filed, and you might be one of millions of Americans who are getting a surprise this tax season. Smaller refunds or no refunds at all.
Under the new tax law, 80% of Americans are expected to pay less in taxes overall, but that's not happening. Tony DeCopel reports.
We were getting to the point where, I wasn't dreading doing my taxes anymore because
Jason and Amber Edwards were counting on lower taxes and maybe even a refund in 2018.
I was a bit optimistic.
The college educators from Rhode Island had planned to put the extra money toward their newly adopted baby son.
Hi, buddy.
But when they filed their returns, they got a surprise. No refund, and the IRS said they owed thousands in additional taxes.
It became a huge shock because we had just started to get all the necessities for a baby. And then to turn around and suddenly have to write a $3,000 check, this was not the year for us to be doing that.
They're a good example of reality.
Jeffrey Levine is a certified public accountant in New York. Back in 2017, we asked him to review the Edwards tax returns and project their tax bill under the new law. Levine estimated a savings of about $650. And the segment was so popular with GOP lawmakers, even the president retweeted it. So, what happened?
They owe a lot more than they probably thought they would have given that increase in income because they experienced withholding changes like most of the American public.
Tax withholding is the money your employer pulls automatically from your paycheck and sends to the IRS. Under the new tax law, the withholding changed, giving people more money in each paycheck, but resulting in potentially larger bills at the end of the year.
Come on, buddy.
Like what happened to the Edwards.
I know a lot of people in this position where they thought, they were going to get money back and, their paychecks were a little bit more, but then they also wind up owing too. Well, then why did we even do it?
For people who got a surprise tax bill this year, Levine says there's only one way to avoid it.
You need to put more money in throughout the year, whether that's changing your withholdings to have more taken out of each paycheck or perhaps paying estimated tax payments. That's up to you, but it's pay me now or pay me later, but you're going to pay one way or another.
Tony DeCopel, CBS News, New York.
Nationally, refunds are down $6 billion compared to last year, and 1.6 million fewer people are getting them. I had to write a check.
So did I.
It's painful.
Pay now or pay later, just like Tony said.
That's right. Death and taxes. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Take a look at this. The airport in Singapore has just unveiled the world's largest indoor waterfall. The massive 131-foot rain vortex funnels rainwater from the center of the glass and steel dome. It's surrounded by a huge manicured forest garden. And at night, the sheet of water turns into a screen where a light show is displayed, and it's open to visitors 24/7. The forest contains more than 900 trees and palms and about 60,000 shrubs.
I think an airport is the perfect place for that. Just sort of helps you exhale a little
Singapore
bit.
airport
looks really cool.
It's been dubbed the fanciest airport in the world.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, though, of course this doesn't have anything on it, but Opry Mills down in Nashville, they have just a whole exhibit, and it looks like that.
Really?
Especially around Christmas time, and they light it all up. Really cool stuff.
Maybe that was their inspiration.
You never know.
Yeah. Well, after much anticipation over the past few days, the Milwaukee Bucks successfully turned the Milwaukee River green this morning.
That's right. It was a part of a weekend celebration as the city prepares for the Milwaukee Bucks' first playoff game this Sunday. Crews from the Milwaukee Department of Public Works and the DNR used 2 boats pouring a powder dye into the water, and then a third boat agitated the water to help the dye mix in. The game against the Detroit Pistons is at 6 p.m. at Pfizer Forum.
And of course, the Bucks' color is green.
Yes.
That's why they're doing green. It's not.
Take that, Chicago.
Hey, I haven't seen the river being dyed green at all, so that's a nice tradition.
That's pretty cool.
I know.
It's first time in Milwaukee.
First time. Well, let's see if it sticks around.
All right.
Sure.
Lucky they're playing indoors.
Yeah, because this nice weather has not stuck. The weather in general hasn't stuck around. No matter what it is, it has been changing just about every 5 minutes, which of course is a saying everywhere when it comes to the weather. But I'll have the full forecast on how this weekend roller coaster will go coming up. One of the bigger weather stories that we have seen today, apart from the wind, has just been the cloud cover that worked its way back into town this morning, and it has been with us ever since. This is visible cloud track behind me. It starts out with some holes in the cloud cover this morning, but since then, it has just been a thick blanket of cloud cover that has rolled on through town. We're looking at that right now. It helped keep those temperatures a little bit colder, so our high only made it 43, which is 13 degrees below where we should be for this time of the year. However, the cloud cover this morning kept us a little bit warmer. We started out at 37, 2 degrees warmer than we should be. Generally, the day was colder, 39 degrees right now. Winds coming out of the south and southwest at 11. And if you pay attention here, you might be able to see a little bit of shakiness on the Edgewater sky camera. Folks, those winds are gusting out there out of the south and west, and you can hear it and feel it as you take a step outside. Elsewhere, temperatures are mainly in the 30s right now. 36 in the Dells, 37 in Mineral Point. Janesville's a little bit warmer. They're at 43 right now, which they made it all the way up towards 50 today. But check out these winds rocking and rolling out of the south and west. Sustained winds at 26 miles per hour at Janesville right now, 28 Mineral Point. Same for Platteville, Dubuque, Iowa, seeing sustained winds upwards of 28 to 30 miles per hour. Here's the deal. As we move overnight towards tomorrow morning, we'll begin to see these winds relax just a little bit, but we're still going to see them sustained at 15 to 20, so it's still going to be breezy. Same throughout the day. Tomorrow, we'll start to get in on a little bit more of a westerly wind. Watch what happens, how it begins to become out of the north by tomorrow night. Then into Sunday, we start to see another strong north and northeasterly wind moving into the picture ahead of the next system that's going to bring a chance of precipitation our way. First, let's focus on, the overall setup. We've got our large system that brought the blizzard to the high plains. Now moving on out of here, drier air starting to move in towards the middle of that. I do think visible cloud track will show us just a better picture of that in 1 second. And then across the four corners, we are starting to see the next region of low pressure develop. That's going to be pushing towards the deep south. Here's the cloud cover again. You see that dry slot of air moving in. This is almost a textbook example of what a cyclone or a storm system would look like in a meteorology textbook. But we are focusing now on this next system moving into western Texas. A lot of cloud cover over the Texas Panhandle and parts of New Mexico. That is going to set the stage for a severe weather event across the south. You are going to be hearing things such as the possibility of strong or violent tornadoes across parts of Arkansas and Louisiana, kind of right where this bullseye is into tomorrow. But that same system that brings them severe weather will have a possibility of bringing some rain and snow our way as we head into Sunday. Here it is. You see tomorrow afternoon where the greatest concentration of showers and thunderstorms will be. The system begins to lift towards the north and east, and you see on the northern fringe of that in extreme southeastern Wisconsin, that is where the possibility will be for a few flakes of snow. And I do think most of that's going to miss us towards the south and east. In fact, here's how that does begin to play out for us. We'll see those temperatures around 45 tomorrow afternoon. Here comes that cloud cover into Sunday, and then you see the sliver of snow that works its way across most of southeastern Wisconsin, and you'll notice a lot of that tries to stay south and east of the Madison area. Here's the European model, and you generally get the same theme. So for the most part, things are trending a little bit drier for us here in Madison, but we're going to have to watch that closely as we go through the weekend. Saturday itself, though, it looks good. If you're headed out to the farmer's market, wear a jacket, but no major worries. There's also the Dark Sky Severe Weather Seminar coming up tomorrow at Madison College. The weather team here from News 3 Now will be there, of course, programming weather radios from 11 to 1. I'd love to see you all. We can talk about how this winter went as I program your weather radio and look forward to a severe weather season, but yeah.
But before that, you'll be on the morning show.
Of course, I will be on the morning show as well.
Weekend weather on News 3 on Sunday morning. Then stay tuned for a special edition of CBS Sunday Morning. Martha Teicher from CBS Sunday Morning is with us today. And Martha, I understand you have a special edition of CBS Sunday Morning this week.
It's called The Money Issue, and it's all about money and making money and anything that we thought was interesting, vaguely related to money. And one of the stories that people might be interested in is a profile that Tracy Smith has done of Kris Jenner, something that doesn't happen very often. And she, as you may know, is is the mother of all those rich Kardashians. And the story is about how Kris Jenner, in a sense, launched them into their money-making careers. And I'd like to show you a clip.
How much of the money that your daughters bring in is based on their endorsements of products on social media?
Well, my girls are constantly getting offers to post something for a company or a brand on social media. So they have a fee for a post or a fee for a story, a fee for Facebook, a fee for, they have a fee schedule.
Can you give me a ballpark of the fees?
It's different. It's all over the board. I mean, it's definitely six figures.
Well, Mark, that's some family business.
Yeah, it really is. Can't wait to see that story. What else is on the show this weekend?
Oh, gosh. David Pogue is doing a story on professional safecrackers, legal ones, and Mark Phillips is doing a story on how Sweden has gone cashless. There's a story that Rita Braver has done on what's happened to all that stuff that you take back to the store or send back when you've ordered something online and it doesn't fit. And I got the hardship assignment. I went on a cruise ship. It's a story about the cruise ship industry. And I'd never been on one before, and I expected to hate it, but I absolutely had a wonderful time.
I understand that. I've been on them myself. Marcia Teichner filling in for Jane Pauley this Sunday morning at 8 o'clock. We'll see you then. Thank you.
Looks like a good show on Sunday.
Tune in. When Live at 4 continues, we're heading to the movies.
We'll have a preview of the new comedy Little. It has the youngest executive producer in Hollywood history. That's next. Well, the weekend is off to a cloudy and chilly start.
Windy.
That's live look downtown on this Friday afternoon. A new comedy hitting theaters this weekend features a magical transformation and a lot of laughs.
The film also boasts the youngest executive producer in Hollywood history. David Daniel has a preview.
Taking the boss ladies on a warpath this morning.
Every morning.
No! Ding dong! Ding dong!
Little stars Regina Hall as the boss from hell and Issa Rae as her long-suffering assistant.
My slippers 53 centimeters away from the bed so when I hop out, my feet can land on them. I mean, am I being unreasonable? Is that too much to ask?
No, it's not unreasonable at all. She hasn't really grown up because she's embracing this mean side of her. She thinks that she has to be verbally abusive to her staff to be respected.
Then something truly strange happens.
You went to bed grown and then you woke up little. That's for white people, because black people don't have the time.
14-year-old star Marseille Martin came up with the comedy's concept.
It's crazy cool, and I still don't believe it in general.
She pitched it when she was 10. You know, she's an old woman now. I mean, you know what? She had a very clear vision and idea, and it was strong, and she had thought it out.
I just love that she's still, you know, so smart, so level-headed, so professional, and still, like, feels like a kid, you know what I mean?
Your body can't fit into my clothes. This is squats. This is Pilates.
That body looks like Baby Gap.
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
And she's on Blackish.
Yeah, that's right.
14 years old.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Well, up next, a look back at 50 years.
We sit down with legendary UW band director Mike Leckrone as he shares some memories and his plans for the future when Live at 4 continues.
course, it is Friday. We are watching those backups as folks begin to head home. More and more cars starting to show up on the Beltline at Park Street. That's going to be in both directions. We've also got a little slowdown on the interstate. We'll talk about that one in a second. But for now, we're focusing on the Beltline between Verona Road and John Nolan, and then between Fish Hatchery and about Park Street. That's going to be in both directions there, but a lot of those speeds as slow as 17 miles per hour. So that is well underneath the speed limit there. We jump over towards the interstate from the Beltline up towards Highway 30. We are seeing some slowdowns in the northbound direction as well. No reports of an accident in the meantime, but this is a spot where traffic is usually a little bit more smooth, and that's going to be between 17 and 25 miles per hour. We jump over towards Verona Road from the Beltline towards Highway PD. Of course, we're seeing slowdowns there. The average speed right around 21 miles per hour. So three major trouble spots this morning, or this afternoon rather, as folks are headed home. If you are headed from Verona Road to John Nolan, that's going to take you right around 15 minutes. And then from John Nolan towards the interstate, that's going to take you a little over 5 minutes. Guys?
Thank you, Chris.
It is the end of an era on the UW-Madison campus.
The UW Varsity Band held the first of its 3 spring concerts last night in front of a sold-out crowd at the Kohl Center.
Saturday is the grand finale for band director Mike Leckrone.
Before he says goodbye, we talked to Mike to share some memories and his plans for the future. The leader of the band brings to life the heart and soul of a university. There will never be another quite like Mike. Mike, you know, they say at a moment like this, your life sort of flashes before your eyes. Is that what's happening this week?
Every day.
Every day?
Every day somebody comes up and says either, thanks for what you've done with the band, thanks for the years.
This weekend marks a bittersweet milestone for Mike Leckrone. After 50 years and at 82, Mike is retiring after leading the Spring Varsity Band concert for the final time. I've heard you say to your band members so many times to remember these moments of happiness.
Moments of happiness.
Are you doing that yourself?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. In fact, that's the title of the program this year.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. We've on the program that we're handing out in the Kohl Center. It's called Moments of Happiness. I've done what I've told the students to do. You know, take it in and remember it, because it might be something that you have to call on a little bit later in life.
You've provided me with so many moments of happiness.
Tears flowed in August when Mike told the band this would be his final year.
I can't even begin to state it, but I will tell you, those moments of happiness are what have gotten me through any difficult time.
At his last home football game, alumni of the band returned to Camp Randall to say thank you. Is it true that you remember almost all of your kids? You can remember their names and...
I remember them from way back, and now some of them have changed a little bit. But the interesting thing is I can always remember their instrument immediately, no matter who they were. If I see someone come up who was a trombone player in the 70s, I would know right away trombone.
At his final dress rehearsal at the Kohl Center, Mike and the band practiced for 5 hours and prepared for one last legendary fly-in.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's hard to express what Mike has meant to the band and what they have meant to him.
We gave each other a sort of a cooperative thing that we could do, and we all feel it. I think anybody who's been in the band even 1 year senses that camaraderie that's a part of the band, and that's what makes it work. That's the reason I've done it for all these years, is to have that feeling over and over again.
The traditions Mike started, the 5th quarter and the chicken dance, will all live on. But as the school year comes to an end, Mike can't quite bring himself to start packing. How long have you been in this office?
Since 1969. And
the year you came?
Yep.
You've had the same office the whole time?
Yeah, and it was we've decorated a little bit.
Mike's campus office is a museum of 5 decades of Badger memories, but one stands out above all the rest.
The Rose Bowl.
That's the first one?
Yeah, and that was such a special event for me. It still remains as the highlight of what I did. It was an amazing time. That 1993-94 season was just so unbelievable. Everything worked. The response when the band just made an appearance around a corner or came down the street, people could catch a glimpse of the way the people responded to it. It was just a moment anybody who was there would never forget it.
Well, people may not remember that it started in Japan, the road to the Rose Bowl that year. Did the band go to Japan?
We took 70 people, and that's another thing. I mean, here, this was, for most bands, that would be a major touring thing, but now when you talk about it, oh yeah, we were in Japan too.
How many Rose Bowls have you been to?
6.
And is there ever anything like the first one?
No, not like the first one.
Mike has had his share of tough times, too. He lost his wife of 62 years, Phyllis, 2 years ago, and had double bypass heart surgery after that. But as he starts this new chapter, Mike remains vigorous and hopeful. So what are you going to do in retirement? Are you going to stay in Madison?
I am staying in Madison. My kids are all in the area, and I'm going to plan to stay here. I probably will try to get out of the cold weather occasionally, which I didn't have the opportunity to do before.
But before he says goodbye, there will be one more iconic moment as Mike Leckrone takes his final bow. That final varsity.
It will be hard, but I think it's going to be one of those very special feelings that I have, and it's that moment of happiness that there may be a little bit of sadness along with it, but that's the part that I'm going to really remember.
That is the definition of a legend.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I started school here in 1974, so I've been here the entire time that Mike has been directing that band.
And you went to the '94 Rose Bowl.
Yeah, I've done so many stories with Mike over the years. It's incredible.
And Mike has always been so good to us. Yeah. Every time we've wanted to talk to him, he's been accessible and available, so we're going to miss him so much. Yeah. It really is the end of an era.
I wouldn't envy the person who has to fill his shoes.
Speaking of that, Mike said they're doing a national search for his successor, and the interviews for that search have been completed, so we could be getting an announcement fairly soon.
Two more concerts left.
Yep, tickets unfortunately are all sold out, but WPT.org, Wisconsin Public Television, is streaming it.
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night at 7 o'clock.
All right, we'll be right back. Hang on if you're heading outside.
Yeah, that's right. A clear to partly cloudy night tonight. We're going to see those lows right around 30. Another thing, folks, the tornado drill has a round 2 that is coming our way. So at 6:45, the sirens are going to sound again.
Don't be
ready
alarmed.
for that. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Chris. Thank you. We'll be right back with the News Hounds.
Spring is here, or it will be eventually, and you know what that means? Zoo babies.
Lola and Louie have those cute bundles and more in this week's edition of the News Hounds Now Update.
It's News Hounds Now Update with Lola and Louie.
This week on the News Hounds Now Update, they're hoping panda love is in the air in Germany.
Forget about goat yoga.
And that's one big baby.
But first, zoo officials in Chicago are looking for a new home for one of their cutest inhabitants. This adorable river otter pup was born at the Brookfield Zoo in February. His mother, Charlotte, rejected him shortly after he was born, so zoo staff raised him. The problem is after doing that, Charlotte is unlikely to accept the pup back. Experts decided the best future for the pup is to go to another facility that has otters the same age.
A zoo in Des Moines has a big birth announcement to make, and we mean big. Blank Park Zoo says its 9-year-old female eastern black rhino has given birth to a 112-pound female calf. The zoo will name her through a fundraising contest. The zoo says the names should be in an African language. This species is considered critically endangered, primarily because of poaching.
Sometimes love takes its time, but the Berlin Zoo is hoping this is the year for panda romance. The zoo's 2 giant pandas, 8-year-old male Zhao Qin and 5-year-old female Meng Meng, arrived from China in June of 2017. After nearly 2 years of munching bamboo in neighboring enclosures, they were brought together for the first time this week after zookeepers confirmed that Meng Meng is in heat, a phase that lasts for 72 hours per year at most. Zhao Qin was afraid at first, but then tentatively approached his prospective mate. The zookeeper says that, quote, they still need to practice a little bit. Fingers crossed.
Finally, forget goat yoga. We present to you Lemoga.